When the First World War ended in 1918, the Kurdish people of West Asia rejoiced. It was their moment in history. The victors of the war were about to redraw maps, and the Kurds felt that they were about to become the masters of their own destiny. They would finally have their own homeland. In 1920, the Treaty of Sevres dismembered the Ottoman Empire, allocating a section for a possible Kurdistan. But the leaders of a new emerging democratic Turkey fought back, forcing the US to support a new treaty. In 1923, the Treaty of Lausanne established Turkey's modern borders while partitioning Kurdish inhabited territories among Turkey, Iraq, and Syria. The dream of Kurdistan shattered forever. More than a century later, the people of Kurdish ethnicity live and fight for the day their betrayal would end at the hands of those who continue to dictate their future. In the intervening century and more, since the end of the First World War, the Kurdish people have suffered under successive regimes spread across the countries whose citizens they had been forced to become. In Iraq, in Iran, Turkey, and Syria, the Kurdish people were often persecuted, sometimes displaced, and often oppressed. Discriminatory policies curtailing cultural and political rights dogged the community, giving rise to armed resistance groups across the region. Around 30 million Kurds inhabit a mountainous region straddling the borders of Turkey, Iraq, Syria, Iran, and Armenia. They make up the fourth largest ethnic group in the Middle East. A short-lived Kurdish kingdom inside modern-day Iraq was crushed in 1924 with the assistance of the British. When the Second World War ended and there was another round of redrawing of maps, the Kurds declared the formation of the Mahabad Republic in northwestern Iran. The Iranian regime, with the support of the United States and Britain, suppressed this experiment. The Iranian government publicly executed Qazi Muhammad, the elected president of the republic, as well as several other Kurdish leaders. In the 1970s, Iraq under President Saddam Hussein and Iran under the Shah were at loggerheads. The US covertly funded Kurdish Peshmerga resistance fighters in Iraq to create trouble for Saddam. In 1975, Saddam Hussein made a surprise peace deal with the Shah of Iran. American support to the Kurdish forces dried up, and the Iraqi army attacked the rebels and extracted a severe toll. In the 1980s, the Kurdish nationalist struggle had a resurgence in Turkey. At the forefront was the militant PKK, or Kurdistan Workers' Party. The group continued to wage guerrilla war, with the conflict killing thousands of people. The PKK got classified as a terrorist group by the US, EU and UK, amongst others. In 2025, the PKK finally announced plans to disband and disarm, potentially bringing decades of conflict with Turkey to an end. In Iraq, in 1988, Saddam Hussein unleashed a reign of terror against the restive Kurds. He ordered chemical attacks on civilian Kurdish populations. It killed an estimated 5,000 people. When Iraq attacked Kuwait and the First Gulf War began in 1990, the US again backed the Kurds to revolt against Saddam. When the war ended in Iraqi defeat, a no-fly zone was enforced by Western forces over northern Iraq, allowing the creation of an autonomous Kurdish zone which functioned as an autonomous republic. But this too did not last long, as the US once again backed out, and the Kurdish fighters paid the price, with Iraqi army extracting brutal retribution. In 2014, the US once again partnered with the Kurdish Peshmerga forces, this time to fight ISIS in Iraq. In 2017, during the first Trump administration, the US trained and armed the People's Protection Units, YPG, a Syrian Kurdish militia, in its successful resistance to ISIL. During the Syrian civil war, the YPG became one of the main components of the Syrian Democratic Forces. But once again, the US turned away from the Kurdish group when it backed the new government of President Ahmad al-Shara, which took power in December 2024. However, when the SDF signed a deal to integrate into the government forces, the Syrian government recognized Kurdish rights. For now, in the entire region of West Asia, living divided across 5 nation-states, the Kurdish people continue their struggle for recognition and self-determination. It remains at the core of the Kurdish collective spirit. A Kurdish homeland, a Kurdish state is what they aspire for. Every conflict, every political upheaval in the region is an opportunity for the Kurds to try and strike alliances and make deals that might take them one step closer to their goal. No matter how many times they have been betrayed in the past.